John Gibbs, driver of the 13 Mitigator Ford Fusion. I'd like to thank you for listening to Let's Talk Racing.tv.
Driver of the number 5 Kiker Motorsports Camry. Welcome to Let's Talk Racing TV.
With Rockingham Speedway. Thanks for listening to Let's Talk Racing.
I'm Tiffany Peters, driver of the number 17 Toyota NASCAR Camp World Truck Series, and you're listening to Let's Talk Racing. Hey guys, I'm Daytona 500 winner Trevor Bain, and thank you for watching Let's Talk Racing.
Yeah, he actually made a race, Caraway?
Well, we can always carry over into the next person's time slot.
I'm here the whole time, so.
I know.
Oh, we need to get some light.
Yeah.
Y'all want light too?
We're on
I
light.
mean, we look like some shadows.
Well, y'all are shady characters anyway.
And I'm still trying to boot this computer up, and it's just not being very nice. At all.
I think we're on backup generators running the show.
Just about.
Ooh, we thought we might have to.
Yeah, that was a big thing here. Anyway, we'd like to welcome everybody to Let's Talk Racing tonight. Got myself, Matt Mullins, and Taco, known as, let's flip that, Cameron Patrick, known as Taco. And I'm Roger Brehm. And Matt's having a hard time with the computer.
I'm not having a hard time with the computer. It won't work.
Introduce
That's not a hard time.
Introduce your guest.
Eric,
Yes.
tell us a little bit about yourself. Eric Wallace here. We were just talking about you. Now we're on the air. Working a fab shop at Roush Fenway and rear tire carrier for Marcus Ambrose, right?
Yes, sir.
All righty. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
First of all, thanks for letting me be on your show. I'm Eric Wallace, and I carry rear tires on Marcus Ambrose on the weekend. And then on the weekdays, I work for Roush Fenway Racing and help build all the cars in the fab shop, doing duct work, crush panels, stuff like that. And then on my free time, I'm either working on my sister's race cars or I work or try to race on my own. I'm running pro trucks or late models down through Georgia and Alabama and North Carolina, just, all over the East Coast.
Wherever you can drive, right?
Yeah, wherever there's a steering wheel, I'm ready.
You said your sister. Who's your sister?
My sister's Kristen Wallace.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure you might have seen her around on Facebook or somewhere. She runs the Gresham Motorsports Park in Georgia a lot, and the Lanier Speedway in Georgia.
Yeah, I'm friends with her on Facebook, and she's quite a Facebook fanatic.
Yeah, I think most kids are these days.
Yeah. So, and we just did it off air, and I'll do it on air here. Congratulations. You all got a great win at Watkins Glen. Well-deserved, I should say. And got one at Montreal, too.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It was a hard-earned win. These guys been working their butt off just trying to, get what Marcus needed. And we thought we had a good piece of Sonoma, and it just didn't turn out that way. And went back to the shop, did our homework, and paid off at Watkins Glen, and then came back the next week at Montreal and did it again. So that was pretty cool, 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, real cool. And Marcus being a road course expert, I mean, I guess that's what people are calling him. He's picked up quite a bit, though, on the ovals, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, I tell you what, Marcus is an amazing road course driver. I've never seen somebody like him. That they say there's a trick in how you work your feet and stuff, and he's definitely got the talent for that. And when we give him some good pieces for oval tracks, he's a heck of a driver there too. They say a driver's all about his equipment, and whenever we give him a good piece, he's up there in the top 10.
Now, and you kind of explained this to it, and I think a lot of people will probably be going, works for Roush Fenway, but you pit crew for Richard Petty. How's that working out?
Well, Rouse does a lot for Petty's as far as, supplying cars and stuff for them. So they also sub us out as crew members and stuff for the weekend. So on the weekends I work for Richard Petty, as Rouse subs me out to Richard Petty Motorsports. So that's how that works out.
Now here's a good one for you, and I know you're a Jack Rouse fan, Cameron. So we're going to get this in it. What's it like working for the Cat in the Hat and the King?
I tell you what, it's pretty amazing. Sometimes I have to pinch my skin, just to make sure I'm still going, because it's a dream come true just to work for two legends like that. And it's crazy, two different personalities. Jack's real serious, and the King, he's real jokative and likes to joke around a lot.
Do you now? I'm a lot of owners and stuff like that. I always kind of get the feeling that they really don't know their employees and all that. Is it that way with Roush and Petty's? I'm sure they've got a good working relationship with everybody, but
yeah, they got a good working relationship with everybody. Of course, the people that go to the track and stuff more, they know more of because they spend more time at the racetrack. But like as far as Roush Fenway, you have to realize they have over 300 something employees, building these race cars and stuff. So there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that people don't realize that's going on.
Roush Fenway does more than just race cars, don't they?
Yeah, as far as our shop in Concord, we're just strictly race cars and building cars for other teams and stuff. But as far as Jack Rouse himself, man, he's got all kinds of businesses, up in Michigan and stuff like that.
He does get around quite a bit. Yes. Does he fly as much as he used to?
I don't know if he actually flies right now because he's got to get his license back. But he's still trucking, every day. I'm sure he sneaks in there on the pilot seat every once in a while, but he's got a pilot for him right now.
Yeah. The accident a couple years ago.
News to me.
News to you?
I don't watch detail, local. NASCAR's Sunday.
NASCAR's Sunday. Other than that, you don't pay attention. Okay, yeah, that's right. We've had this talk before. So what's on the schedule here now? You guys are racing. Where are you this weekend?
This weekend we're heading to Atlanta.
That's right.
There on Sunday night. So it should be a fun race. Atlanta went from 2 dates to 1 date, so I'm hoping or looking like it's going to be a big crowd and should be a lot of fun. As you know, Ambrose got a chance to get in the chase, so Bud Keselowski's kind of our friend right now because if he makes it into the top 10 of points, we have a good chance of making it in the chase. So it's going to be pretty nail-biting to see how it all comes out.
And then the weekend after that, you're in Richmond, which is really going to be the nail-biter for a lot of teams.
Yep. Richmond's always a nail-biter in the season there, so it's going to be pretty nerve-wracking next two weeks.
Now, when you go into Richmond, and it's just like you said, you're hoping Keselowski makes it into the top 10. And as a crew member for him, how important is that to you? I mean, you still going to do your job after this, but how important is it to you that he makes it in there?
Well, of course, it's important to everybody. As far as the sponsors or whatever we got. It's important. We treat every day like it's our last race. You just have to go out there and just execute and see how it all plays out. But as far as the crew members, we always want to be on top of the game. So, and it helps our bonus checks a little bit too. So it's a big deal all the way around.
There's the key, bonus check.
Bonus check. Hey, yeah, that's a great incentive, isn't it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
So, how old are you? I'm going to ask you that real quick. How old are you? And I know you're a rear tire changer, but how old are you? And how long do you plan on doing this some more?
I am 24 years old, and I hope to do it until my knee, as long as my knees let me do it.
Okay, so you're a youngin. He can still do it. Us old men up here, we can't do that anymore.
That's like Mark Schmuck, a friend of ours. He was gas man with Timothy Peters, and it just got to the point that he couldn't do it no more, so he just stays in the shop now, and some young gun is now out there doing his job.
Yeah, I hope to, whenever I can't carry tires no more, that's why I hope to at least still work on the cars, because that's what live and die for is working on race cars. So that's my goal.
How long has he been doing it?
How long you been doing this?
I've been carrying tires for 2 years now. I started last year on Greg Biffle was doing some nationwide stuff with Redman, and started on that deal. And then in Charlotte race, Biffle's rear tire carrier got hit by Tony Stewart in the 600, and they put me in there after he got hurt, and I did some races last year with Biffle, and then this year they moved me over to Ambrose.
Cool. So kind of a stroke of luck you got in on it.
Yeah, you know, you hate to wish anybody get hurt, but it kind of worked out to my benefit.
Yeah. Do you have a primary car that you work on, or do you work on everybody's car in the fab shop?
Nope, in the shop we work on everybody's cars. You know, we just we're all one big family, so everything's done the same.
That's our next question.
Do what?
I said that was the next question, whether they're all the same or some different than others.
So yeah. Well, now I'm going to ask you this because somebody pointed this out to me at Bristol, and they pointed out, how much are these cars the same? You're a fabricator. How much are they the same from a short track to an intermediate to a speedway? Road courses are probably going to be a little bit different, but how close are they to being exact same cars?
You know, as far as the features are pretty much the same, but if we go to a speedway, of course we have speedway cars because we massage the bodies a little bit, you know, try to smoothen them out a lot more than we would a short track or something. But as far as, you know, the chassis and stuff, they're all the same. Like I said, just on the body stuff, we like to tweak them a little bit. You know, if we're going to intermediate to a speedway, like
You might just do a little bit extra massaging on a speedway car.
just got to give it a little bit better, you know, a little bit more massaging to get it through the air.
So they're essentially the same from car to car.
Yeah, they're the same from car to car. You know, you'll see some of your lower funded teams, they'll use the same car from Daytona to Atlanta to Bristol. They'll use the same cars.
Okay, so what about between the teams? You know, is Edwards driving the same car as somebody else would?
Yeah, I mean, we each team has an average of 12 to 13 cars they go through that they have in their shops. You know, if one guy decides they don't like this car, they might give it to, you know, another team. They might give it to David Reagan or something and see what they can do with it. And if they can't do nothing with it, then they'll cut it up and build a new one. So.
Okay, I'm trying to get on to the chat room here real quick.
So what do you think about all this Facebook and everything else we've got out of here for the new social networking? How does this work for you and the racing teams?
It's amazing how much Facebook and all that came along in the last couple of years. You know, it's just you meet somebody and you don't ask for a phone no more. You know, you tell them to find you on Facebook. So it's kind of crazy, you know. But as far as, you know, like our PR people, that's all they do now is Twitter, and that's how people follow us is Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah, for anybody, Eric is on Facebook, ERIC, then Wallace, WALLACE, and I'm sure he'll probably accept you if you tell him you came from Let's Talk Racing.
Yeah, and I also have a Eric Wallace Racing Facebook page too, so check that out too.
What was that?
It's Eric Wallace Racing on Facebook.
Oh, Eric Wallace. Okay.
Yeah, and then you can also check my sister out at Kristen Wallace Racing on Facebook.
Yeah, I think I know I'm on both of those with her, and I don't know if I've got your other one though or not. I'll have to check that out. We were just talking with Cameron over here earlier before the show. I said it gets so hard for me. I'm up to almost to that 5,000 people limit, and I tell him every day I come in, I've always got about another 10 people wanting to, you know, friend up with me. And I don't think it's that too bad, but from what I understand, you can get it expanded.
I don't know why they got that 5,000 limit, you know?
Well, I mean, that's a lot of people that, I mean, let me tell you this. When I open up my Facebook page, and I look on it, if I go to the bottom of the page, I will have probably 50 posts, and the oldest one is 20 seconds ago. Okay, now think of that. And then you have to click the little thing that says older post. You might get to 40 or 45 seconds. I mean, that gets to be old. I mean, I tell anybody if they want to talk to me, you best send me a message or text it to me or call me on the phone. Because if you just post it in the open post status page, it just flies right on by. Unless I'm on there when you do it, I don't see it.
Yeah, you don't see half of it.
We went and actually set up a regular Let's Talk Racing chat room group page, and we have over 3,000 people that are on that.
I think I'm a member on that.
Yeah, I think so. So feel free to throw something out there every once in a while.
Okay.
It's there for everybody to talk and get a lot of news about what's going on.
Yeah, definitely.
So we were just talking a little bit earlier here. Tell us your next race. Tell us what's kind of in store here for Richard Petty Motorsports here coming up.
Well, as far as Rich Petty Motorsports, like I said, we Marcus is signed for next year again in family, so hopefully that'll be all good. And then we're just trying to get through these last 12 races here and get this thing in the chase and go from there.
Feel pretty confident about making the chase?
I hope so. Like I said, it all depends on Brett Keselowski. So, like I said, he's our best friend right now. So
If he wins, they're still in, because then they would.
if he's in the top 10, then I think we have a good shot at it. Because knock on wood, I think we can run good Atlanta and
2
Richmond.
wins.
He's got 3 wins.
No.
Brad's got 2.
Brad's got 3.
Three?
No, but his car, they've only got 1.
They've
Yeah.
only got 1.
If they
but
get another one, they would have 2, and then they would be the second one
they
in.
need to be
they would be the
11th or
second
12th.
one in.
They got to be in the top 20, and then it goes by wins after that.
Top
No,
12.
Top 12.
And then
Right,
it
to make
goes
the
by
chase,
win.
but they got to be in the top 20 in points
Right.
to be
If you're 11th or
eligible
12th,
for it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
to
know
be
what you're
eligible
saying.
for
Yeah.
if you're 11th or 12th and haven't won a race,
then
you're not going to make the chase.
right.
So if you are 11th or 12th, if Marcus is 11th or 12th, he's automatically in.
Is that the way it
Because
works?
he's won a race. Yeah.
That's Ken.
Is that the way it works, Eric?
Yeah, if Brad moves in the top 10, then they're going to take the next 2 guys that have won the most races.
Right. You just have to be in the top 20. You don't have to be 11th or 12th. He could be 19th and have 3 wins, and he would be in.
And get in.
And
yeah.
get in.
But yeah, that would mean Brad would have to drop down beyond 12th then.
Well, no, 'cause
for that.
Brad's got
Brad
3.
would have to be in the top 10.
Right.
That's what we're saying.
Oh, okay.
Because right now, with 1 win, he's tied with a few other drivers, isn't he?
Yeah, then it's going to depend on how far up you are from.
You got to be in the top 20 to be eligible.
Right.
And then, because who else has got 1 win?
Uh,
The 6 car does.
and Paul Menard.
And Paul Menard, yep.
What about the 11? I thought he only had 1 win.
11's got a win, but he's way up there in points, so he's almost guaranteed he's going to be in. So
He's in the top 10, isn't
Is
he?
he?
he's 13th or 13th or 14th. But if Keselowski moves in the top 10, then it'll be Denny Hamlin, and then it'll be between Ambrose, Reagan, and Menard.
Right. Whoever's the highest at the end gets that
Highest
spot.
in the
Unless they
points.
get another win.
Yeah, unless you get another win.
Unless he gets another win. Okay.
Maybe does that mean we got to quit rooting for Brad?
Yes.
By the way, just to let you know, Eric, we started working with some of Brad's team mates, mostly a spotter Joey Meyer, and we've had him on, or we've been giving them karma before each race. They have not finished worse than 2nd or 3rd.
Wow.
Since we started doing that. He's had the 2 wins, also the nationwide win right after we had him on the show. So they've been kicking it.
Well, maybe we need some of that.
I think it's somebody told me the other day you must got to break a leg to win in a cup race,
Sometimes
because
break a
since he
leg.
broke his leg, he's won.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's had to prove himself that he wasn't hurt. So
Both the Dodgers have found something, because it seems like once he came up the last 5-6 weeks, the Dodgers have been up front.
I think they've changed their motor programs too. I think they've actually gone to the new Dodge motor, which seems to be like Ford's coming out with a new motor now, and Toyota's coming out with it's like this
Finally getting it working.
finally getting it working. So I'm not so sure that Dodge hasn't done that too. You know what? We got Eric on here, and I'm going to talk to Cameron here a little bit about this too, and I want to bring it up: fuel injection next year. What do y'all think about it, Eric?
well, I think we got to get in. Every car now today's world has fuel injection, so I guess we got to get up in the time. So I guess it's going to be a good thing. Carburetors are old school, which I still like old school stuff, but just to get into today's day and time, we got to go to fuel injection.
So do you think it'll work out all right?
I think so. You know, we're at the peak top level of automobile racing, so I think that they got enough engineers and knowledge. They'll figure it out.
The only thing that concerns me, and this is what I'm going to bring you in on this, fuel injection, are they still going to be able to use manual pumps? Is it going to have to be manual pumps?
Can't.
You know, I'm not real sure right now. They're still trying to figure all that out, but I'm not sure how they're going to go with that. I guess that's why they got all the engineers for.
I'm with you, and Eric, I'm talking to Cameron here with me. I'm with you. I see electric fuel pumps.
You have to. You can't create enough pressure with a manual pump
And that's what I'm
compared
thinking.
to electrical pump.
Yeah.
I mean, the sad part is you're not going to get near like these guys that can let off the throttle and get the fuel mileage. With fuel injection, it's not going to work that way.
No, it's not.
You know, you're not going to be able to save. But then again, you could lean the car out, richen it up. It all depends on how much they're going to give the teams to adjust, on the cars as far as injection.
And are they going to be computer controlled?
They have to be. You can't do fuel injection without being computer controlled.
Well, there is manual, but
But that's not true fuel injection.
Well,
With the standard of today having
Hilburn
computers,
fuel injectors is what I'm thinking, and it is manual.
Yes.
You can do the manual pumps, you can do the manual feed, and control it. But then you're talking 8 injectors, you're talking 8 air intakes, you're talking 8 of everything.
Right.
Not just a carb-rated,
Well, they
a
won't do it
TBI.
that way either. They probably won't do it either. They'll do individual injectors with one big throttle body on the top, and then they'll have the sensors and stuff that go along with it. And it'll be up to the brain to decide what to do.
Okay, how are you going to control that brain?
That's
So
something
everybody's
NASCAR's
the
got to
same,
figure out. That's what NASCAR's jobs. That's probably why they're testing it.
The only thing I can think of is like the old TBIs, the throttle body injections with the 2 injectors on top.
Right.
That would be the only thing
But
I would
those
think.
are too inefficient for nowadays standards.
I agree with you on that. But what else, playing with the injectors, that's going to happen.
Well, but like I said, it's gonna. They may be just like you would get an MSD box if you went to a track that handed you an MSD box.
Right.
It may be the same way. You show up that weekend and they give you a box. Maybe the only way they can work it out. Otherwise, they'll have too many computer guys in there tweaking.
And I got a feeling that's what's going to happen.
Well, NASCAR's probably not going to go to it until they've decided. Just like going to the rear wing, they went and found one company to make the wing and said, "All right, everybody's got to buy it." They'll figure it out before they approve it.
Yeah, they should, and they will. I think they will. NASCAR's always been good about that, but with the wing, they were finding ways around that too to kind of, they were moving it around a little bit back there. I think Junior got busted for it that first year. They were moving it back a little bit and down a little bit more. And
So how much in the loop do they keep the teams when it comes to cheating?
Eric, that's one for you.
Let's get straight to the point.
What was that? What did you say?
How much do they let the team members know when they get to where they want to try stuff for cheating? Because there's no way that nobody doesn't know the stuff makes it onto the car.
Yeah, they're pretty strict. Every time we cut a clip off or something, we have to send it back to NASCAR and they reinspect it, and they go over them pretty thoroughly, and they'll tell you, we don't like this, and you're like, been running it all season. They'll tell you, we don't like it now, so you have to take it back to the shop and cut it off and redo it and then bring it back to them. So they're pretty strict on that stuff. But when they, of course, every race team tries to cheat, so they look real hard for all that little stuff.
Well, the question I think was, do they let you guys know when they're trying to fudge a little bit?
No, some things, if it involves, what we're working on, they'll, tell us, we got to do this, and this. But, and, they'll tell you, don't, keep this top secret. But if it's something that, as far as not pertains to my department, they don't really say much to it because they don't want it to get out.
Exactly.
Right.
In other words, it might not necessarily be illegal, but it's something that they want to try.
Yeah, anything we do is not illegal. We're just, in the gray area of the rules.
Yeah, I was going to say the good old famous gray area that we all love to push.
Well, it's like the oil pans with Joe Gibbs Racing.
Yeah.
It wasn't that they weren't illegal; they just had not passed through NASCAR inspection to become legal yet. That's why they were unapproved, not illegal. Does that make sense?
It's a gray area.
Eric?
Yep, that's exactly.
And, you know, a lot of people don't, oh, well, he was illegal. No, it was unapproved. It just was not. Jeff Gordon had the same thing a couple of years ago with an intake. It was unapproved. The metal that they used in the intake, the aluminum, was not approved through NASCAR to run it. And that's the only thing that was illegal. It wasn't illegal, it just was not approved at the time.
I think that's a gray area on NASCAR, if you ask me. They're illegal, but this is how we're going to say, well, let us look into it and we'll let you know. You know,
It's like one of those things, like you said, you bring it in, you take and get it checked out, and then you get it approved, and then it's legal.
right.
But if you decide to run it before you do the other part of the process, then it's unapproved / illegal.
There you go. I'm going to try that this weekend. I'm going to put something illegal on the car and say, I'm just waiting for approval, and we'll see if Langley says the same thing. There it is.
You run a modified. There isn't hardly anything illegal on them cars.
They want to find something to look at every week, though, so.
Yeah, that's what
I'd say let 'em.
I mean, they're pretty much wide open. So why do they inspect it? Other than for height infractions, maybe.
Carburetor. I mean, Mike Rudy got thrown out for 1,000ths over on the rule. You know, and you're like, okay. But if you watch the race, he didn't win because of that 1,000ths. But it was out. It wasn't approved, so.
Exactly. Well, he came back and proved him wrong because he won that second race.
No, he didn't. He came back through and finished like third from the back.
That's right. He did come back and finish third, but he won the week after that. He had won after that.
No, he didn't actually. He didn't win a race since then.
You sure?
He won the first 2 in a row, then he won the third one. He got DQ'd, and he hasn't won a race since because he's had carburetor issues since then, and he hasn't been back up front.
Okay.
So
I thought he had. I thought he won that night. I know he came back and he finished strong.
he finished
after
third,
that. Yeah.
I think, in the second race.
He had motor issues that next week.
Right.
Because that's the week I ran, and he dropped a valve.
Right.
And you was running really bad that night too.
I've been running bad a lot here lately.
We'll get to you in a second. Eric, we're going to get you off of here. I'm going to sit here and talk to Cameron because we got Morehouse calling in a couple minutes. I want to thank you for joining us. We're going to get you back on here soon, hopefully after Richmond.
There you go. Thanks for having me, and hopefully I have some good news after Richmond.
Well, we hope to see you up there. We're going to try to get up there and run into you.
Awesome. Yeah, come see me. I'll be at Ambrose's, so come see me.
All right, you got it.
That's what's funny here, Eric. I used to, when Richard before he did all his stuff, I used to be able to get the garage passes from him all the time, and we were able to go into the cup garage. But now, since he's done all the other stuff, I have no contacts anymore at Petty Motorsports. So now all we get is nationwide passes. So we may have to call you and have you come visit us at the gate or something.
There you go. Well, just send me a message on Facebook, and I'll see if I can hook you up there.
Well, I'll be able to text you through your cell phone anyway.
Yeah, you can do that.
All right, man. Well, listen, you go have a good night, enjoy, and good luck at Atlanta, and hope to see you soon at Richmond.
Cool, guys. Well, I appreciate it.
All righty, man. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye. Now I got to remember how to do this. I got it.
They're refreshing.
Now we're going to talk to Cameron, and I got to bring that up too. Yeah, you have been, because I was a lap down, ready to pass you that night, and I knew you were in position. So, but I mean, what's going on?
You tell me. I wish I knew to tell you. You know, winning the first 4 races in a row, and it didn't even touch the car, and it was unbelievable. It'd do everything you ever wanted to do, and then we had the 2 rainout nights in a row, and that last one, I got involved with Johnson with the wreck, and it seems like, between fixing that and then the next week blowing the motor, the car has not been the same since.
And you haven't been touching the car. I mean, you haven't. I don't think you've been changing a lot, have you?
We've been changing everything we could think of.
Oh, since then.
Since then, yeah. But the moment you go and put a 600 plus motor, in the front and gain 50 extra pounds, it's a whole different beast. I'd be better off running at Saluda than I would at Langley.
Well, and I was going to bring that up. Yeah, you were pretty much sideways that whole night. I followed you, and I followed you for about 10 laps.
Yeah, it's certainly been a handful. They always say, "Hey, more power, more power." Being a Legends driver, I'm like, "There's no such thing as too much power."
Yeah,
there is on an 8-inch slick that doesn't stick. So, All
right, we got on the phone with us right now, a friend of ours, and if you want to know how to cheat, you ask this man. He'll tell you how it's all done. We have Mr. Brian Morehouse from NASCAR Officials.
Hey, Brian, how you doing, bud?
Uh-oh.
Hello, Brian. All that big intro and he died on us.
Thought he was there.
You there, Brian? Oh, hello. I hate to do this. Here and there. Let me go see if I can put him on hold and pick him up again.
I guess he's not really there.
I guess he's not really there. And I'm gonna talk to Cameron for a few minutes. Brian can listen in.
Oh, we have to call back.
Oh, he's gonna have to call back.
No, I'm calling him in.
Can you hear me now?
Can you? There he is calling in. See. So what's been going on? Have we figured it out? Do we think we've got this?
How we keep trying, little things. At first when you put that big motor in and you got all this new weight in the front, you couldn't get the rear to grip. So now you start switching everything to try to get the rear to grip. And then the front wouldn't turn. Now you're trying to get the front to turn and get rid of the rear grip. And, finally we've calmed the car down enough by just pulling 100 horsepower out of the motor so it didn't kill the right rear. And now we got the car to turn, but we've done so much to try to, in the rear to try to make the car turn. Now it doesn't have any grip. So now we're going back the other direction. But right now Sean's figured something out that unless we all come up with a miracle, we're going to be chasing his tail anyway.
It took him a while though to figure that out. It really did. He didn't jump on it overnight.
No. It's he's claiming that he's lowered some roll centers in the front and moved the motor around. But man, when you walk up and look at his car and the rear end, you can't even see through the car from being behind him. And he's got this new wing coming off the side of it, and I'm like, okay, what kind of class are we running here?
Well, I tell you
It's
what.
modified.
I've got a man on the line right now. Brian, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
If you want to find out how to cheat, I bet you he's probably seen how it's been done. And we have Brian Morehouse on the line with us, and he is from NASCAR. He is an official, and that is part of his job. Go ahead, Brian.
How you doing tonight?
How you doing?
We're doing good. You ready to come up our way?
I'm heading up that way right now. I'm on the Interstate 85, heading on that way. I was just talking to Roger a second ago, and I don't know, I must have got a bad signal, and I faded right on off. So I'm trying to find a place to pull over and hopefully keep a signal with y'all guys.
Must still be in Carolina.
You must be still in Carolina, aren't you?
Yeah, and I won't tell you what kind of phone service I have.
Please don't. We won't talk about that. Were you in Charlotte last weekend, or did you go to Bristol?
I was at Bristol. Wasn't there for the modified race. I was there for the nationwide race, and it looked like a good race on TV. It was a lot of action packed. Ryan Newman did a heck of a job, always does in that New York '77, and it looked like a good race. I mean, there was plenty of incidents going on all around the track, and it looked like a lot of passing and clean passing going on. So the guys finished up there at Bristol and went on over to Caraway and raced Friday night. Southern Mods did, and Andy Sykes put on a heck of a show. Went in and Mr. Riggs' old car, his old car owner passed away during the off season.
Oh, really?
And they brought that car out of retirement, and he came on out to the Caraway and won that race and gave the win to Mr. Riggs in his memory. So it was a really emotional thing from what I've heard. So really glad to see that for Andy, his team, and Eddie Harvey, and that whole bunch.
Being a NASCAR official, and I'm going to ask you this real quick because this is kind of what I was getting to, and you said you were at the nationwide race at Bristol.
Uh-huh.
How concerned were you guys watching the weather? Were you guys keeping an eye on what was going on?
The weather's always a factor, man. You've always got to keep an eye on that. A storm can creep up on you in a heartbeat. We were just in Canada week before last when I was with Nationwide, and it was a beautiful day at the start of the race, and them guys were really watching the weather like they always do at every race, and then more than we throw the checkered flag in Canada, bottom fell out. And it was like God's gift. It was like, oh my goodness, we got this race in. That's great. You really got to watch the weather. You just, them storms can creep up on you. And, even in the Hampton Roads area, look how much on a Saturday night
it can be beautiful 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock, and once 6:30 rolls around, a storm comes in, and then you're drawing the track at 7:30.
Weather can be really finicky at a track, can it?
Well, yeah, and then guys, I mean, they basically have a guy that's watching the weather, and you know, they're really big on that with their computers and everything. But when we're on pit road, it's really amazing. I mean, it looks like we don't do a whole lot, I know, but you really work hard for about, I don't know, 12 seconds, and then the rest of it you're watching, you know, watching them guys on the pit boxes, watching weather, watching, you know, fuel strategy and everything else. And it's really interesting to be able to sit there and see all that, like with tire management, these guys, you know, checking the pressures and everything else. So there's just so much that goes on that TV doesn't show and that you really don't get to see.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people actually realize what was going on, what goes on behind the scenes, I should say.
Yeah, a lot goes on. You know, and a lot goes on in a race day preparation. I mean, as you know, being a race car driver, it's just not showing up at the track, unloading the car from the trailer and going at it. It starts at 8 o'clock in the morning and it goes right on up until race time, and sometimes you barely make it. We're looking forward to coming back there. We'll be back at Langley Speedway this Saturday, and we're looking forward to it. I heard the car count has really jumped up, and we should be having a good race out there for Langley Speedway.
How many cars do you think we're going to have?
Well, last I heard today, it had jumped up to around 16 or 17. You know, I haven't talked to Jimmy Wilson. He's our new race director. And last conversation, I was talking to him yesterday. But if we can get a couple more cars in there, I mean, you know, look, a couple of guys, you know, blew motors out of Caraway this past weekend. So if they can get some new motors dropped into the cars and make the trip down to Langley, could be really some good action-packed racing. I mean, think about it. Last year they only had 15 cars, and it was one heck of a race. Wow. When I remember...
Keep going. I'm sorry.
Huh?
No, keep going.
Keep going. Matt had his text message.
Ursus aired that race, and it was, the second highest rated race viewed last year.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I heard through the statistics and everything. So that was really good off of the K&N and the modified race last year. It was like second or third, what I remember. And I thought it was a really good race last year. A lot of clean passing and, you know, action-packed. And, of course, the stands were packed last year.
Yeah. And it was a really good race. Yeah. I mean, there's no argument about it.
You know, they were still fighting for the win at the end. And usually you get a big car race that comes in at the end, it's like, oh, somebody's so far out front. And then coming down to the end of the race, they really had a good battle for the lead.
Yeah. That emergency lane, that's going to be the wild card for the weekend. And with all the good weather we're going to have this weekend, it's going to be interesting.
I tell you what, it was some great racing last year, and I expect great racing again this year. I think it's going to be a really, really tight race. I mean, you got Tim Brown, who's the returning winner from last year. He's coming back in the 02 car, and you've got the new guy that's coming along. Remember this kid's name? You're going to remember. He won the $1 million shootout for the Legends. Daniel Hemrick.
Yeah.
He's going to be in the Hillbilly car for Mr. and Mrs. Hill in the 79 Coors Light, from what I hear. So he's coming. He's really been coming along pretty good in the modified car. And, you know, you got some of the other ones like L.W. Miller. He's got some good equipment along with Andy Sykes. I mean, he's really, I mean, and don't forget Thomas Benson. You know, this guy is a true racer. He's really raced hard with us all year, and he blew his motor at Bowman right before coming to Bowman Gray, and so he didn't get to make that race. But you know, Thomas Benson has put a lot of laps around Langley Speedway, so there's another contender for the win right there.
And we're actually going to have him on here in a few minutes. Hopefully, they're actually firing the motor up tonight.
Wow. That's what I heard. I heard they got everything dropped in yesterday by 4 o'clock, and they were just going ahead and bolting everything in, and they were going to turn that baby over tonight. So let's just hope everything goes well. That's a good team right there. Those guys are true race car, really into racing. They're a good team to really deal with. It's a pleasure to deal with them each and every week.
And you couldn't ask for a bunch of better guys. You really couldn't.
They're really, you tell them that there's something wrong, they understand it, and they'll get it corrected. Thomas has been around for a long time. He's not new to this, division at all. Of course, I think he raced towards the championship last year at Langley Speedway. And I tell you what, he's just a great competitor and a great group of guys to deal with.
Yeah, they really are. And you know Thomas, don't you?
Yeah, oh, yeah. He is a very good guy. We were very disappointed when you all wouldn't let him race last year because we were all rooting for him.
Oh, no, say it like it is. We were pissed.
Yes.
We understood, but we were pissed.
Well, you guys got to sort of understand. NASCAR has rules.
Oh, it wasn't approved.
Something. It's really something just, slide on by with the lock rear end. And he knew it. He forgot all about it. And we got to talking, and Thomas was a very understanding guy last year. And I know that Langley promoted the race around him, and, hey, we wanted him in it. We really did. But, we just can't, let somebody get away. If you were to let one, then you got to let another, and NASCAR's not going to let that happen.
And we understood, and it was just kind of a miscommunique on that. But
it was.
Hey, Thomas still went out and put on a heck of a show in the regular modifieds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we would have loved to have seen him in the Southern mods, but hey, we'll see him this year.
We're going to get our chance Saturday night. We'll definitely see him. Like I tell you, he's going to be up in the top 3. He's done a heck of a job this year when he's raced with us. I really think you're really going to see a contender in Thomas Stinson.
I think so too. I really feel that he's really going to be. How do I want to say it? Everybody else is going to be looking for second place with Thomas out there.
I think so.
I know he's been complaining all year about being down on motor, and maybe now with the new one he'll be a little better. I don't know. You're closer to him than the rest of us.
Yeah, he's been, but sometimes that down on motor, we were just talking about it.
Right.
That down on motor helps him out quite a bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can. Sometimes it's tire strategy, and the way you've got that car set up. You never know. You never know what's going to end up happening. From what I understand, Langley's done a good job with promoting the race. We're really looking forward to a big turnout. Hopefully you're getting late in the season. The car count, it's going to be good. And hopefully the crowd will be great. From what I understand, we've got a meet and greet Friday night down at Town Center. And that's supposed to be going on. And I haven't really checked over everything, but around 6 o'clock or something like that. So that's always nice. It did really well when we had the K&N cars down there. And it was nice to get together with you, Roger, and everybody and be able to, kick back and eat afterwards and be able to sit there and talk about racing.
Yeah, and everybody had a good time. That was really a good, even though it rained on us.
Yeah, it did rain on us. Man, everywhere we've been this year, it's rained on us.
I know he was hiding out in our car when it was raining, if I remember correctly.
We just get, hey, that's the way racing is. Sometimes you get rained out, sometimes you get them in.
This is the first year that NASCAR has issued me rain gear. I wonder if they're trying to tell me something.
They finally got approved.
So you're going to be hitting sometime tonight when you get in town then, right?
Huh?
So you're going to be getting in sometime tonight when you get here?
Yeah, I'm going to be getting in probably around 12 or 1. Trying to get in a little bit early. As y'all all know, I'm from that area. Pretty much raised in that area, graduated from college there, high school and everything, and my mom's there and family. So I'm coming in a little bit early, trying to, get to see the family, put racing in there, and be able to go out on the boat, go to New Point and everything, and enjoy the area. And I heard y'all were really hit pretty hard with the hurricane and everything. Nothing like Isabel, but I hope everybody's got power, and pretty soon everybody will have everything going and be out at Langley Speedway on Saturday night.
I think today they said everybody's back on.
Good.
So I think that's what they had said, if I remember correctly, but everybody was on as of today.
I do know some people that still are out.
Yeah.
And that's because they had issues with tree hitting the wires and jerking it off the wall.
Or out of the house.
Yeah.
Right.
So the majority is
Yeah.
okay.
It's like 99% is up, something like that. But yeah, we were concerned about the show because the last time we had a big storm come through here, we were down for 8 days. So I was sitting there waiting to the last minute to make sure we had power. Power stayed on great. But what was really weird, Sunday afternoon at 5 o'clock, we lost internet. And didn't get it back up till Tuesday around 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
You can't lose internet, man. That's cable TV and internet. You got to have that to live.
Oh, I tell you.
Okay, my favorite Irene story. This is one for the books. Okay, I went to about 1 o'clock to Buckrow Beach, and Brian, you know where I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And during Isabel, I didn't get out much. We had the waves coming to our house. So where I live now, I didn't have much. I was like, well, I'm going to go down and see how bad these waves are.
Right.
And they had just said on the radio that Ocean View Pier in Norfolk was taking heavy damage and was probably going to collapse again. So I knew Buckrow Beach had a pier, so I went out to walk. And I pull out there, and what do I see? A man windsurfing out there.
You're kidding me.
Wait, it gets better. He has a Spider-Man costume on. I kid you not. I could not believe it. I got pictures on my phone of it. I'll make sure you get to see them. But I was like, we're in a hurricane. What's this guy thinking?
Exactly.
So.
Sounds mean. I wonder what goes through people's mind. As you know, I worked for Dominion Power for over 17 years. And the things that you see, and I never got to see anything like that. But, you know, we were out with the storms and everything, and I'm going to tell you what, you came across some weird things. But last weekend, I was really concerned. With all the weather reports that we were hearing in the Charlotte area and everything was, you know, y'all were going to get hit pretty bad. And I was really worried that maybe y'all wouldn't end up having the show. But be honest with you, last year, wasn't there a hurricane coming through? Bill Mullins from Langley Speedway, the owner, said, listen, it's going to blow on out. Don't worry, we're going to have the show. And I'll be darned. You know, guy works on the water his whole life. He knows pretty much how that weather is. So we ended up having the show. I'm really glad that we're going to be able to come in town this weekend. Man, I'm just hoping it stays clear and everything, and we really be able to get this show in.
And we will. And you're right. Bill is just... The times that I have dealt with him and all that, and we've always talked about weather, he's been 99% right.
Yeah.
Every time. I'll say, what about this? And he'll be like, wait, this is happening, so no, it's not going to happen. Or, he knows it.
Well, he really does. And he's got a lot of knowledge, with his background being on the water and everything. But I also want to bring up, and talking with everybody, crews and drivers and everything, everybody really seems to be looking forward to Langley. As you know, Langley's pretty much a flat track. You conquer Langley, you can, they say, I've always heard this through the grapevines throughout racing, you conquer Langley, you can pretty much call yourself a race car driver. It's a flat track, and, it takes a lot of skill and, setup to be able to get around that place. And
kahunas.
Man,
yes.
Quite a few of them had a lot of fun there last year.
And I think a lot of them were looking forward. I know Burt Myers was, Burt and Jason were posting something on Facebook that they couldn't wait to come back to Langley. I think Burt finished third last year.
Yeah, and and when I was talking about contenders, it totally slipped my mind about Bart and Jason. I mean, there's just so many different people that could win at any given time. I mean, you're not talking about just like 2 or 3 race car drivers that you can pick they're going to win. You got almost the whole field. That they're at any given point. I mean, with good equipment and everything, and luck that comes along with racing, as we all know.
Yeah.
Anybody could end up winning that. So it's going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to it. I understand that I got the schedule today, and there's a twin mod for the Langley mods.
Right.
I spoke to Sean Beluso today, and he was telling me that he's all ready and really wanting to try to go for that national championship, and I want to wish him the best of luck. It's always nice to be able to know someone that has really made it in racing and done good for themselves.
The modifieds have been putting on some excellent show, and 17, 18 cars now. I think we're up to about 18 cars.
Yeah,
on average.
I'm gonna tell you, I've been hearing some really good things. As you know, when I have an off week, I usually try to come back to Langley and see everybody. And I was down there probably about a month ago, I would say. I had an off weekend, and the mods really did. They put on a heck of a show, and I think the late models raced that night too. And they put on a really great show.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, it seems like racing has taken a real big hit over the last couple of years with the economy and everything else, but it really seems like Langley is growing and getting back to the old roots that it used to have 15, 20 years ago, and the car counts are really starting to show that, and a lot of good competition there. I've heard y'all have had Philip Morris in the late model division come down, and of course, as you know, he's going for the, regional champion or national?
Regional, yeah.
Regional. So, you got so many different levels now, it's hard to keep up with everything. So, but, a lot of good racing going on from the Legends, Modifieds, the U-Cars. A lot of competition in there. A lot of good kids. Kids that I saw when they were 6 and 7 years old now are 16, 17, 18 years old and they're driving U-Cars. It's making me feel old, but I'm glad to see some of these kids really doing pretty good and enjoying what they like to do, and that's racing.
And you know what? We even see some of the older guys that were running it back in U cars, and see some old names starting to pop back up out there.
Really?
Yeah, just a couple here and there, but don't be surprised if we see more next year.
If you remember, Bill Mullins started off in U cars.
Go karts and then U car, yeah, and then went to trucks. Yep.
And then if you look at it, I knew you were there back then when the U cars first came out. I'm thinking, what is Wayne White thinking of? He'd gotten rid of mini stock, he got these U cars, and he said, "You watch, this is going to be a growing division." In the first year, which was like in the early 2000s, it was only like 4 or 5 cars, and then it went to 6 or 7, and then it got up to 10. And then I heard a couple of years ago you were almost needing to run heat racing.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's almost that way now. They're still getting 25, 26 a race.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome, man.
So
it's awesome. Racing's all about being able to control expense and everything else, and hopefully they've got a little bit of a cap on that. Of course, them cars have come a long way. If you remember, Matt, we used to see some cars that were painted with a spray can, and some of these cars are really looking good now. But heck, my first race car I painted it with a spray can. It don't go fast by the looks of it.
Yeah, it's only got to look good from the stands.
You're exactly right.
Yeah. They had more money in the stereos back then than they did in the whole car.
I remember one guy having that.
Yep.
Laugh all the time about that. That was a trip.
You could hear him on the back stretch, on the front stretch.
Yep, I remember that.
I want to do one thing before getting off. We have an official within the touring series that has fallen sick, and his name's Steve Nostraw. And Steve ended up, when I first came on board, he helped train me as a field investigator. And like I said, Steve is fallen sick. Our thoughts and prayers are with him, and we're hoping that he comes through this real well. He was with us last year out at Langley. He won't be making the trip this year, but if Steve's listening, I just want him to know the whole NASCAR community, is thinking about him, and our prayers are with him, and we're really hoping he comes through this okay.
Well, and send our thoughts and prayers with him, and we know you got to get back driving, so come on, Brian. Hopefully we'll see you here next Thursday or Friday. We'll see you here soon.
This tomorrow.
Righty, man. Thank y'all for having me on, and y'all got to take care, and we'll definitely see each other. And let Roger know I got a beagle.
Yeah, I heard about that. I was going to just ask you, how's your new member of the family doing?
Well, if I can just get him housebroke.
Oh, goodness. Hey,
man.
I'd hate to say this. My wife would probably kill me. She's probably listening. Is if you brought him to the house, all of our beagles are housebroken, and we use the other beagles to do that.
Really? Well, he's making a trip with me.
All right, cool.
And he's on Facebook. Matter of fact, he gets more attention on there than I do. So let me tell you something, man. You talked to me last time I was down and told me how good of dogs they were, and I'm really glad I ended up getting this little rascal. I named him after my first track that I ever worked at on the big cup side, and so I named him Bristol.
All right.
Yep.
Yep. So, well, guys, we'll see you soon, and I appreciate you having us on.
No problem, man. We'll be seeing you.
I'll send you a couple of texts after a while, okay?
Okay, buddy.
All right, be safe.
Thanks.
Bristol.
Bristol.
I was getting ready to look up. I must have lost Thomas's number.
They might still be trying to run that motor. Hold on 1 second.
So you know he's got
Well, I
it.
tell you what, I haven't done my little break.
You doggone right I got it.
We'll
I think
do
you
a
ran better in that car that he sold than the guy that's got it now.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna tell you my story about
All
that.
right, you want to hang on a second? I'm gonna do a little
Okay.
thingy.
I had fun.
I'm Sam Hunt, driving a 42 car on a thing. Let's Talk Racing.
Hi, I'm Robert Richardson Jr., driver of the number 23 Dodge Challenger for R3 Motorsports in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, and you're watching Let's Talk Racing.
I'm Tony Peter, driver of the number 17 Toyota NASCAR Camp World Truck Series, and you're listening to Let's Talk Racing.
Hi, my name is Natalie Sather. I drive the 94 K&N Lady Eagle Safety Wear, Butler Built Seats, Bell Helmets, Hooker Harness Seatbelts, number 94 at South Boston Speedway. Be sure to listen to Let's Talk Racing TV.
Hey guys, I'm Daytona 500 winner Trevor Bain, and thank you for watching Let's Talk Racing.
I don't even want to get in the darn thing. Kevin keeps blaming that it's him. Ever since we put him on the car, got involved with him, it hasn't run worth crap.
We'd like to welcome you back to Let's Talk Racing.
I know that's not it.
Oh no,
Yeah,
that's just
that's
the way
not
it goes.
That was a request from a viewer.
Take the hat off.
Take the hat off, which is a rarity actually, and I don't think I've hardly ever seen you without a hat.
Unless I'm getting in a race car.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you got a helmet.
Then I got a helmet. That's right.
Then
Find a
you
way to
got a
hide.
helmet.
Little incognito.
It's probably from one of our feng shui people, or I know who it was. I bet.
You're exactly right. She had some other comments on here, but we'll leave them alone.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can call Thomas. I bet they're running the motor, so I bet we're not going to hear from him tonight.
Well, he's got power. Good for him. No, Dad's working at the shop with the generator in ours, so.
Yeah.
Is he really?
Yeah, he still doesn't have power. So.
Scarborough's got the same thing. He's
Yeah, because where we live, Dad lives real close to where Scarborough shop's at, so.
So there's a lot of guys having to work on everything with using generator power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
one of the generators is with the crew chief. He's got one at home.
Williamsburg, Richmond. I heard they got hit a lot harder than we did up here.
just depends on where you're at, I guess.
Yeah.
I know Sandra from Langley called me yesterday. We're trying to get all the modifieds to come and do that thing that the big cars are doing on Friday.
Yeah.
Which said most of the teams that talked to still didn't have power.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to if you don't want to. If you're too
So
busy.
they went ahead and canceled it. It would have been fun to see the big cars.
Yeah, I mean, when they were out here during the first part of the year, we went out there, and that's when Brian was talking about us being with them and everything.
Okay, not a problem. Did you get it running? Okay, right.
We should have set him around the corner because
Yeah, put it next to the microphone on speaker.
Set it on speaker so we can all hear it.
Okay.
Semi-interview.
See if he's got a little motor. I'll swap him for my big
Okay,
one.
well,
I'd love to get that thing out of the car. Jesus.
You get the big one out of the car?
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Oh, because it's just too much power. You know,
so-
when
so
our motor builder builds for Saluda.
We're a go for Langley then.
And
Why don't you change the rear end gearing
Yeah,
or your tranny gearing?
well, the problem
We're good
is
to go.
if you're racing against somebody that can get the power to the ground,
All right, I will let them know because
he's coming out of the corner
So
and is able
go
to
do what
stomp
you gotta
him.
do, and,
where
I'll
somebody's
call you tomorrow
got
night.
too much power, they're saying, "Oh, partial
All right.
throttle, take some gear out."
Bye.
They've already hit it and they're pulling, and you're back there feathering.
Yeah.
So it's almost like I said, the tire can only handle so much, and so now we're just finding out we got too much.
Well,
Oh, somebody else is calling.
That's
Oh,
for
that's
him.
mine. Yeah, don't worry about it.
But I was going to say, because you could take, if you're changing the gearing, then you theoretically can stomp on it coming out of the corner and not not lose anything out of it.
We tried that when we first got the motor, pulling the gear out, and the problem is it still makes so much power and torque out of the low end, it didn't matter. And then the guys were killing you on restarts, and if you didn't get going, you couldn't make anything up because the straightaways aren't long enough in Langley to take a motor that needs to stretch its legs. It's surprisingly, yes. The little break you get.
Yeah. It's more like just a wisp, isn't it?
If the car's handling really good, it goes by quickly. If it's handling really bad, it's really long.
Yeah.
So,
I remember when I was running late model, it came out of the turn, came up to the wall, you had about a second at that much, you felt you were going straight, and then you were back turning left again.
The back stretch, the only place I've ever felt like I was going straight.
right. Well, a late model's more like a Cadillac driving compared to a modified because they're just like an overgrown Legends car.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't really get a break. If you're not hazing the tires or backing it in, you're not even trying.
Just talking about gear, I don't think you could take enough or put enough gear in a modified to keep from hazing tires. I really wholeheartedly believe that.
It all kind of depends on the motor combination. I mean, the motor we had before, we actually did things to take some of the power out and make it at the top end so that it didn't haze the tires. And that was one of the reasons we were so good in the beginning. Now, all of a sudden, he went and built this Saluda motor, which is Saluda, it's crack the throttle and go. I keep telling Dad, I said, we need to trade motors with Kincaid because he likes to be sideways smoking a tire, and we have the motor for it.
Yeah.
But
what about taking and detuning down the motor a little bit?
Well, that's the motor guy's like, oh, I didn't put a big enough cam in it. Oh, we need to put bigger heads on it. Oh, we need to do this. And you're like, okay, well,
What about shifting the timing just by?
But that's what we've actually done. We've taken 10 degrees out of the timing just to try to stop it from spinning the tire.
He tells a story that he ran Donnie Harris's modified one time, and they had to pull 2 back plug wires off it so he could qualify because it had so much power.
Right.
But they were running aluminum head, big motors, and 15-inch tires, and But he always said that, they had to pull 2 plug wires to qualify with that car.
Well, it's unbelievable because the very first motor we had, it had the same problem. Even though it was still only a 383, the heads on it and the way the cam was set up, it was made to hit the heart out of the hole. So we had him build the motor that we ended up blowing up. He put bigger heads on it and tweaked it so that it would be smooth up out of the hole and then have the big rush. And then when that one went bad, he said, all right, now I'm going to build you the baddest thing there is. 415 cubic inches later, solid roller cam that he won't even tell me how big it is. It's so big. And it just hits too hard. It's now, of course, when you go extra cubes, the head you thought was big is now small. So now technically the heads aren't big enough for the size cubic inches you're running.
So you got to run a bigger head to
Yeah,
compensate for it. Yeah,
so
I know exactly what you're talking
it's
about.
like a
What type of intake are you running?
Edelbrock.
I think that's all you can run, isn't it? A Vic Jr.?
That's what it is. You can run pretty much any intake you want, but we have
Is
a
that a dual plane or
It's got a
single?
single plane.
single plane.
You really,
I mean, you could take and do something with the intake there to help.
it's how much compromising do you have to do before you end up, bogging the motor to where it wouldn't do anything. Yeah, okay, now it doesn't spin the tire, but then again, it won't go down the straightaway.
Yeah.
So, you kind of have to make that compromise. Because the motor builder was like, oh, just partial throttle it. I said, oh, yeah, I'm coming off the corner hazing the tire at half throttle, and the guy behind me just stomped it and pulled beside me with his little 350.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
It's...
And tires are huge issue.
In
Yeah,
that case, next thing to work on is the chassis.
well,
Get it to where it'll set. And
if we had the big late model tire, it wouldn't be as big a deal. But with only having that little 8-inch tire, we never thought that a 500 horse motor was all you needed. Everybody always thinking more is better, and I'm here to say it's not.
I say you can have too much motors in them cars. That's what I was saying. You could put a 500 horsepower motor in there. Doesn't matter what you do with the gearing. You could go as low as you want or go as high as you want. You're still going to haze them little 8-inch tires. You've got 16 inches of rubber back there, and that's it.
Yep.
what do you think about the thing Joe's trying to start up with trying to cut down the cost on running the modifieds?
Everything he's trying to do is great. It would be great to cut down the price on tires, but that's only one spot. And, one of the things he brought up last week we were there, he brought some tires and was showing us, and he said, oh, they'll last forever. They're going to slow us down. Being somebody that went from a Legends car, jumping into a modified that's a second and a half faster, don't tell me now you're going to take the same car that I love the speed and we're right there close to the late models, and now you're going to slow it down to where it's the same speed as a Grand Stock or barely faster than a Legends car. And here you've spent all this money and all this motor. That's what he claimed last week with the different tire, because he was bringing a treaded tire in and some other, okay, so we've cut costs on tires, but the problem is they open up the rules on shocks. Now everybody's breaking out these rebuildable Penske's. So you're telling me you want to save $10 on a tire, but you're willing to spend $1,000+ on shocks?
Well, then again, the tires are supposed to be able to run 5 or 6 races.
Well,
which is the big savings there that you don't have to put tires
Right,
on.
but we don't want to slow down either. I don't want to run a 17.5 as my fastest lap time.
The thing to do is to have somebody throw them on a car and go out and run some times and see what they compare
Right.
against.
Because you go get a harder tire, now you got the same issue. You got a 600 horsepower motor, now you got a harder tire, you can't even hook it up. I would love to go back to running a sealed motor. We only have the one guy, Darrell Vance, run a sealed motor, but the rules only allow a 602, which honestly isn't fair. 350 horsepower running against, I've got a 600
yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm spinning the tire, he's hooked up and he's gone. But to me, to be competitive, he needs the 604 because then he can get the aluminum heads and lose the weight that he's allowed to have a sealed motor, and now he has a true race motor that will actually make some power.
And will actually last.
Right.
IMCA's opened it up to run aluminum heads now. And the reason they're doing that is because steel heads are becoming more expensive.
Yep.
Because of the moldings and all that, it is cheaper to build an aluminum head.
Yep. You got to send them out and have them ported, where nowadays you can buy out of the box ported aluminum heads.
Exactly.
And for a whole lot less money, it's already done.
Boom, done.
Bolt it on and go.
So do we need to open up? Don't hold your breath on that shock rule yet.
Well, that's that's the big change I would like to make.
I've been talking to him about it, and we've been talking, and I think Joe's gonna. I think what he's doing is a great deal. I don't know about slowing down that much. I think it will.
He claimed that we would. That we have that some of the tires would slow down, some other ones won't. It kind of just depends on which tire. But no matter what he's doing, he's got to find a way to make the track happy. If they're not going to make money off the tire, or it's going to hurt the program, the track's not going to do it, no matter what we want.
When the tracks become a sales location for the tires,
right,
then it's going to piss them off if you got a tire that's going to last 5 or 6 races.
Right.
And
they're not going to make the money.
If you
can get the field bigger, if you can get the field bigger, that's one thing to make up for it. But the only downside is if we're not on the same tire as let's say Southside, which is who our only other cars that we're really stealing from. We really like the idea of being on the same tire. Because then you can run both divisions, run there and run here. But right now, they're on a different Hoosier than we are. So if I decide to go run Southside, I got to take, a bunch more rims. You got to leave 2 tires because I got a 2-tire rule there too. Yeah. And then who knows if how drastic the setup's going to be just on a tire. You can't even practice. You're switching tires and rims back and forth just to come and practice at Langley. Or think about
the Southside, yeah.
Think about Johnson's and Rudy. The fact they get done racing Friday night and got to race Saturday. They got to change tires, they got to change gears, and then they only know what's difference on the setup.
Yeah.
If you had 2 cars, you wouldn't care. But now, the whole point was to bring the cost down on the series, not to go, okay, well everybody has to have a second car, and you just drove the cost back up again.
But see, and I blame that on Southside in Langley. Because they should have gotten together and said, okay, if we're going to run modifieds, let's work together so these guys can run, and all they got to do is change a gear and maybe something in the setup.
Right.
They can run the same tires, shocks. I know there's been an issue about the rules up there in the modifieds.
Because Joe got taken. He couldn't go anymore for an inch extension on his control arm.
Exactly. Come on. This is a modified. Come on.
But then, it comes down, okay, how much modifications are we going to allow on bodies, widths on cars, and, we're getting some cars that are looking funny out there, right, compared to other ones. So, but yes, modifieds are supposed to be different, but who's got an advantage and who doesn't?
Exactly. You got to find out who's got the real creative touch to make that
There's a few cars, excluding yours, that was out there that you can't see through. You don't know. Once you're behind that car, you don't know what's going on in front of you.
No, I have no clue.
There is no such thing as a hood pin driver because you're looking at their cars. And there's a couple out there that are that way, actually. It's not just one person. And you don't know you got to back off so you know what's going on up ahead.
Rely on the spotter.
Yeah, but, that's the worst thing to get out of the car and you've wrecked and the guy's like, well, my spotter didn't tell me. No matter what, the driver's supposed to be responsible for what's going on. And if you can't see through the guy in front of you, how are you supposed to know somebody's spinning?
Well, and my thought is, you can trust the spotter, but your eyes are going to tell you, and I got total faith in my spotter. She's gotten me out of trouble a million times. But I still need to see what's going on right straight ahead of me. Mm-hmm. Because something will happen quicker than she can tell me.
Yeah. The best time you're going to see what's happening in front of you is when you're coming out of the turns, because that's the only time you're going to be able to see around those cars. Otherwise, if you're behind them, you either got to drop low,
or you got to drop off,
or pull back. And
they do need some body rules. I think they need some blade heights
Right.
You know?
Well, it's one thing if you're bringing in 5 different manufacturers. Okay, well, since Hamilton builds my car, if this is the way he builds the car, then they need to make the spec for the car the way he builds it. Kind of thing. Because go with Scarborough. Well, how can you look at him who has a car that's built on a totally different idea and tell him he's got to run our body rule? That's not fair to him as long as he doesn't go over.
What you need to do with the body rules and keep it kind of open is you just put the blade height. Dirt late models are kind of the same way.
Right.
There's a blade height. There is the deck height.
Right.
Width and length, and that's about it.
Well, they have a width rule, and they have a spoiler angle rule, but there's no body height rule.
But there's no spoiler height.
Right, and that's kind of what we're getting into now. Is the back of the bodies are just getting too tall.
Deck height,
right.
Bring that decks back down. That needs to be done. I really do feel that. Yeah. But now, if we go back to IMCA. And this is kind of, and I've always said this, and this is why I like it, because they look at it a whole lot differently than we do. They look at it as, we're going to race 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're going to race all the time.
Right.
So we got to make these cars so we can fix them easy, and they're user-friendly. And that's what they've done. Tracks like Langley and Southside, they've kind of let it go, well, we're just asphalt. Well, that's not necessarily true.
Right.
And then you get Bobby Creech building, good car builder, but he's building a strictly asphalt car. Brett
Right.
Hamilton can do both, but if you look at his cars, it's easy to go either way. You couldn't take a Creech car or a left-hander car, and I'll bring them up and go both ways.
Well, you're getting these Florida cars we're getting now too, and they're strictly pavement cars.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with them. When they come from Florida, the bodies are like they should be. It's the people that get them that change them that start making them look funnier.
Yeah.
And odd. The idea of some of the cars now are getting so wide in the back that it doesn't even look like an open wheel car.
No, it looks like a dirt late model with the body with the front end missing.
Right.
And there's a couple of them like that
That are getting that way, and and then you get some that have the bars on the outside, some that don't have the bars on the outside. It's. I know Joe would really like to push it. We all just go get the cars like the tour cars.
Troyers. And
yeah,
stuff
go
like
get
that.
Troyers. They're cheaper to build, cheaper to fix, and all that. But now, that's a major expense. Now you're telling 20 people that have a car that we can run right now, you need to go buy a new car.
Exactly.
And that's really not going to happen.
You're going to see. I think you're going to see a day with the modifieds where we do go tubed front clips. I think the specs are going to pretty much stay the same, but I see no choice. But they're going to go. They're going to get away with the stock frames.
They're going to run out of cores eventually.
They're going to run out of cores and stuff like that. So we are going to see that. So, are you ready to go?
It's waiting on you guys to wrap it up.
Let's get the hell out of here. I'm hungry.
He's got sponsors to thank yet.
That's right. Taco, come on.
I only have one sponsor, and that's Racing for Hope. Unfortunately, Kevin's not here. It'd be fun to have him here to jargon about that. But and he won't even be here this weekend. He's going to watch VT play.
Yep.
So
Yeah, he was telling me that earlier today.
yeah, he's going to. So he won't even be there to root for us, unfortunately. But
I told him, I said, "How you going to stand the weekend without racing?" He says, "Well, I got my son with me, and we're going to go have fun."
Go enjoy it.
That's the thing to do.
It was really good when I first met him. He was into the racing and enjoying coming, and then it was, all of a sudden he started hanging out with Dad and I, and we kind of rub off on people, and he could see how much we enjoyed racing and doing the whole father-son thing, and him and Don just seemed to gravitate to what we were doing and seeing that this is supposed to be fun, and just being involved with us, you could see his attitude change from the day one where I talked to him, where it was more like, I'm a business owner, and hey, I want to get into this, and we're going to get things going. And between now when you talk to him, and he's just this is as much his life as it is anything else.
And he's enjoying it.
Yes,
and
thoroughly
exactly
enjoying
right.
it.
He's enjoying it thoroughly. So
yeah, I'm very happy to be involved.
Your dad, you got to thank your mom and dad because they're 100% supporters of you.
Oh yeah, Dad's up there with the generator, probably working on the car now. And without him, he decided, we'd had 3 years running the mod, that if we really had just been out of a top 5 car, he said this year we're going to buy a brand new car and we're going to do the best we ever, buy the best. And if we can't get it to work out, then hey, we'll just go back to running Legends. And we got that new car, and the first 4 races she was a barn burner. And now I'm wearing it out, trying to figure out what the heck went wrong with the darn thing.
You'll get it.
Well,
I got no doubt in my mind you'll get it.
We wish we could get the other motor back because we've changed so much stuff on the car for the new motor. If we just could get the other motor and put it back in, You go back to that power level, because it was said the day we blew the motor, we borrowed a motor. And that guy told us, fresh off the dyno, the motor he let us borrow was 480 horsepower. And compared to the one I had in it, it wasn't near as good. But it was the same stock block. So it weighed the same. Bolted the car right in and did not change the way the car handled. I went from all the way to the back to come back and finish 5th. And the guy that was in front of me was the guy I borrowed the motor from. So after 25 laps, I'd run the guy down. Yeah. And then unfortunately the motor broke in the second race. But it seemed like since that weekend, the moment we bolted that extra 50 pounds and all that extra torque, it's just the car just can't handle it. So, and if we could get another one, I'd borrow somebody's late model motor just to put it in for a Thursday to try and see, and put the old setup back in just to see if it would work. Yeah. Because the one advantage they had before is that motor wouldn't haze the tire, and it saved the right rear. So, 25, 50, I've won the only 50-lap race we've had all season.
Yeah.
Because it's all been twins ever since then.
Yeah.
You need to invest in traction control. That's all I can
the motorboat would say that's what your foot is. You got to invest in. Nowadays, traction control is turn the timing out. That's traction control. When you got 600 plus horsepower, but we'll look forward to this weekend. He's going to go back to a few of the things from the earlier in the year and see if that works better. Because we got it to turn now, but when you're smoking the right rear all the way down the straightaway at half throttle, you got to do something to try and fix it. So he was really looking forward to practicing tomorrow, but he'd heard a rumor there was no practice tomorrow, that they had canceled out. And I have no power, no internet at home. I haven't been able to check to see if that's true or not. But
I haven't heard that.
That was the rumor.
I was just out there today.
That was. He wanted me to check on it tonight because, of course, he doesn't have any power and doesn't have any internet, so I'm going to check when I get home.
Well, they should have out there doing their Wednesday night thing.
Right. He didn't know why. He just had
they
heard.
might not tonight.
Well, I can always call Chuck.
Yeah.
Find out. We didn't know if maybe they did that something for the big cars coming in doing something.
No, the big cars cannot practice 7 days before their event.
Wow. It's going to be exciting having them come in. I'm just glad we're getting to race the same weekend they are.
You did last year?
I know. Well, that's the point.
Didn't you do it at the beginning of the year, too?
Yeah, we were there with the K&Ns.
With the K&Ns, yeah. This is modified guys. Chris Fleming's going to run with y'all.
Who's he?
The Madhouse guy.
Oh, in the normal modifieds?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Whose car is he going to drive?
Van Paul's.
Oh, really?
The 69. So, a little bit of a celebrity running with you.
Hey, nothing wrong with that, when I was winning earlier in the year, I said the only thing I was missing in the wins was that Stinson wasn't there. Because you beat everybody, but you haven't beat the best until Stinson's in the field. Of course, you want him to be at his best. During the season he wasn't that healthy, so it was like beating Dale Lemons for the championship.
Yeah.
My first championship I won with the Legends was the year he died.
Yeah.
And that really, to get up there, and get the trophy, and you're like, it's a great honor to win for the division, but without Dale being here,
it doesn't feel like a true,
right. And I was
exactly
fortunate enough to win it a couple years later, battling with some other guys, and to win it. And it was like that one. It felt like I earned it more because everybody was there all year.
Yeah.
You had the people you were battling with, and to be there to win the year that Dale dies. It was almost like there was just a little shadow over it. It didn't mean as much.
And I don't know. We'll talk about the Stinson deal later. You never know about this weekend.
He keeps every weekend we see him. He's like, I might bring the car back out. If Sean, when the moment Sean starts winning, I figured that's when he'd start coming back out. So, who knows? It'd be great to have him come back out.
That after the end of the show.
We'll talk about that later. But
like to thank Cameron for being with us tonight. And
anytime.
Of course, Matt showing up on time for once. No.
Just about didn't. He
said. I know. He started to go do other stuff. I was going to wonder why it took so long at Dad's house. But we'd like to see everybody back next week. We'll see ya.
Night.
Come on. Does that mean I can put my hat back on there?
Yeah, now you put your hat.
Don't want to get a headache.
Let's go to Anna's. Shut it down. Let's go to Anna's.
Going to Anna's this time?
Let's Talk Racing is brought to you by PC Doctors, Computer Sales and Services. This doctor still makes house calls. And also Hampton Incredible Tees and Signs, both located at 1248 North King Street in Hampton, Virginia.